Hello, my name is Janice Hardiman, and I am submitting this video to the Shark Tank show and the producers in hope that I am able to get an investor on a new card game that is also able to become an app for an investment of $150,000 for 60% of my equity or company. Really don't know which one because I'm still in the beginning stages, just really needing an investor to take this game further to a big company. And I know that that's what Shark Tank can help me with. Now, the game that I have created, it is an educational tool card game that consists of 30 to 72 cards, depending on which topic or game you choose. The game that I've created already have about 36 different topics in at least 12 different languages for different age groups, from early ages up until adulthood. The game is very simple. It is inspired by Scrabble, but I call it the word plus value because the game is on different topics with examples and pictures and definitions to help you actually learn the word that you are creating, along with learning the value of that word. As I said, I've created many of different versions, and I would like to show you a few before I begin to show you an example of how to play the word plus value game. Now, I have many of them, but I have given some examples of some. This is our state one, which will teach people and kids the states and their different symbols. This is the teeth, giving for people who want to learn the teeth. This is the Spanish one, teaching it in Spanish, and words, vocabulary, beauty shop. Oh, let's go up here, please. The animals, stems, Kwanzaa, currency, Hanukkah, the church, mathematics symbols, learning the eye, learning shapes, law, and learning the different types of bones. My big one is Disney. And that's Shark Tank producers really why I'm wanting an investor. As you can see, there are so many versions of the game, and it's only about printing. Printing, putting it in a box, shipping it out to the stores. And that's what I'm in need of an investor in doing. Now, as I said, the game comes in different amounts of cards depending on the topic that you want to play. Now, I'm going to give you a short example of how to play the word plus value game. Now, it can be played with one player or even up to 8 players or more. But in this instance, I'm just going to do a 2-player game. And the one that I'm going to show you is the Girl Scout. I've created many different ones. Girl Scouts, as you saw, the Disney, also the NFL and the NBA and other professional teams that is in need of a patent. So once again, this is why I'm submitting this, because I know I have a good one for the Shark Tank investors. Okay, so let's start the game. So in the beginning, we're going to just play with 2 players. You will have 2 stacks of cards. There's one stack that is the AV cards that gives you individual letter value of the picture card that you will need to spell out. Okay, so when you're playing a game, a player will pick a card. That card would be seen by all players to spell out. The player, once all letters have been drawn, the player that comes up with the least amount of value will become the winner of that round or that whole card game that you would like. So as you see, this says brownie. So we would place it at the top, and each player would write the word brownie on their paper, just like it's spelled up there. Once you draw a letter that is needed, you would then mark that out and put the value that you have. If you draw a card that is not needed, it would be placed to the side later to be subtracted from the amount that you have created to spell out the sight word. And remember, our sight word for this round is brownie. So, as you see, the card has brownie. It has the picture of the brownie. It gives the grade level of it. A lot of information on this one little card. And it's visible for all players to see while playing. So, we place it up there. And we would say player 1 would draw from the AV card. First AV card is an A. And as you see, it does not match. So it is not needed and it would be discarded. And as I said, this game can be played with younger children and also adults. So as you see, it's a matching. So they can be able to learn that way also. So this will be a discard and we would place it over to the right. And player 1 could just write down a 1 to the side. And then player 2 would draw. Player 2 also receive an I with a value of 1 for Daisy, which is not needed. So they would place that on the discard. Player 1 would draw again. And we picked up another Daisy for E with a value of 1. We'll place that again. We can mark it. Player 2 would be a D. And as you see, in this card, each card has a different value. That D value is a 2. So that player would put a 2 on that. All of the discards would be subtracted at the end. Player 1 would draw an I with a value of 1. Player 2 would draw B. Player 2 received the B for brownie, and you see it matches, and that's a value of 3. The player 2 would mark the B off and put a 3 down. Player 1 would draw, and player 1 received the O part of brownie within 1 value. And mark that off and get a 1 value. Player 2 would draw with an R and receive a 1 value and mark that off. Then player 2 would draw with an S with a 1 value and mark that off. Player 2 would do an E for the 1 value and mark that off. Player 1 would get a, now we've drawn an O for junior. Remember before we've been drawing a Daisy with the value I for 1, which was a discard. Now we drew a junior and it's giving all the information with an O value with a 1 value that's discarded. That again, player 1 has to put for discard. Player 2 received a S for Daisy with a 1 value for S. Put that over there. Player 2, S for 1 value, discard. Player 2, or 2, received a I as brownie and received the 1 value. Player 1 received the W with a 4 value. Now, player 2 received the value of N with a 1 value. As you see, after all of that, oh, sorry, we should have been laying these all out for each player so they would know. But after you can go through them all, you see brownie has been played out. So now you would add, each player would add up what they received as part of the brownie. So player 1 had 5. Player 2 had 3, 4, 7. But they had to, now player 1 had to discard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Had to discard 5, which gives them a 0. And player 2 had to discard 4, which gives them a 3. Now, to win the game, it will become to become the winner, it is the player with the least value, because that shows that that player received more of the word values of that round. So you see how easy the game is? The game can take up to 30 to 40 minutes depending on how long you play and how many players you play with. It's a really fun game. I hope that the Shark Tank investors like this and see my vision. As I said, there's many different ones. The Kwanzaa one is really a popular one. Also, the Spanish one, teaching numbers. This was inspired by Scrabble because I am a Scrabble geek. I did a lot of different things in that. But I've tweaked it a little bit to hopefully invent and create a new way of learning words and the values of those when playing future word games. Once again, I hope Shark Tank contacts me for their 10th season. I do believe this is a big one. I can make history. I just need y'all to pick me and put me on. Thank you again for listening to me, and hopefully you contact me. Remember, this is a great game. It's a small game, ready for an app, made in different languages, different topics. And not only is it a card game that can play this game that I showed you, there are 7 games in one because of matching, because of the words, because of letters and definitions. So please contact me, Shark Tank. Thank you very much. Janice Hardiman, seeking $125,000 for 60%. Thank you.